Hey guys, what's up? It is week 209, and yeah, so I'll just let you guys know we did the best of 2005 on the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror. It was pretty much another marathon episode, so if you're interested, check it out. After a while, I'll post my top 25 after that show's been out a while, and we'll probably do an extended list. Not 100% sure on that. I guess we're going to start out with the Creepshow episode. So this is episode 4 from season 2, of course. And yeah, so I never remember the names of the episodes, which is probably very lame on my part, but I always put them down below. I think it's something Pipe Dreams, and then the Tales That Witness Within the Madness, or something like that. The first story here follows that of a plumber, and he has a bad reputation due to his brother. He shows up at this kind of slumlord's apartment complex, and he's supposed to fix a really nasty problem that looks way out of, his league or anybody's league. So he gets there, and the landlord is Barbara Crampton, being a horrible person, and there's lead pipes, which are completely illegal. They're definitely making kind of a mention or bringing up the fact that what happened in Flint, Michigan, which is fairly close to my house. I mean, not too close, but close enough. I'm in Ohio, so making a statement on that, how these people just do not care about poor people and yada, 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 especially slumlords. So pretty soon he starts to, try to do his job as best as he can, interacting with some of the people that live there, and there's something in the pipes. It's a furball creature, which is very fun. It's a little creature attacks movie. I really like the plumber. He's a lot of fun. Kind of a big guy, not a typical person that they would put in a lead of an actor typical. But it's just like, yeah, I love that we're having like these kind of everyday workers be the lead characters and stuff like that. He's a good performance. Barbara Crampton's solid as a horrible person. This one's directed by Adam Lynch, so it's got some nice flair, and it does have a little bit of similarities to possibly the episode of what's the original one with Stephen King, the They Grow on You, or the mold one, I would say so, the meteor shit one. And I am picking up like other kind of things in there too, like from other episodes of Creepshow and little creature stuff. It's definitely a Just Desserts ending in line with EC Comics and that kind of stuff. So I enjoyed this one, fairly decent one. And then the next one is Within the Walls, or something like that. And this is super Lovecraftian. It's actually directed by Michael Gornick, who directed the original Creepshow too. He worked on a bunch of Romero movies. He's a cinematographer on a lot of them. So Romero alumni directing an episode of the Creepshow television show is perfect. So okay, so Michael Gornick. Yeah, I like I said, I enjoy Creepshow too, and this is a pretty good story. It's somebody's being interrogated about some past crimes, so we have that kind of structure, and we go back, and he's kind of explaining what happens. Now they think he's crazy, but they've definitely encountered some weird kind of Lovecraftian element in this kind of experiment. Denise Crosby is in here. You guys will recognize her from Pet Sematary and Miracle Mile, among other things. This one is pretty solid. It ends just like a Lovecraft story. It ends exactly like something like Dagon. Then it's the short story would end. So I felt this one was very Lovecraft. There's some cool special effects. All I don't know. Overall, geez, I can't talk today. It's a pretty solid episode, enjoyable as well. I've not disliked any of these so far, but yeah, Creepshow season 2, episode 4, great stuff. Now this is the next one coming up is the one that people are like, Dave, you're gonna love it. So I imagine that I will probably enjoy it quite a bit. And I've heard a mild spoiler, so that's kind of a bummer. But yeah, these were both pretty much enjoyable episodes as well. Okay, this next one, it's a little bit of a cheat, but I don't really want to give like a full-on review or anything like that, but I do want to put a little bit of focus on it because it was the first kind of disc I was ever involved with, and I wasn't involved hugely with it, but it's Beyond Dream's Door from the Homegrown Horrors Volume 1 set from Vinegar Syndrome, and I basically moderated a commentary with the lead actor Nick Balderdash, and yeah, so I've been a big fan of this movie forever. I got involved with the commentary because I'm friends with some of the people at Vinegar Syndrome. We'd be talking back and forth. I mentioned this movie, so therefore they kind of they were probably already looking into it, but they knew that I enjoyed the film. So when the time came up, they actually asked me if I would moderate a commentary, just maybe more so out of kind of convenience for them too, and they knew that I was a fan of the film, so I felt it was an honor to do so, and I got to do it with Nick, and Nick was a very good guy, so we shot the commentary at Cinema Wasteland of all places in 2019, I think so. So anyways, yeah. Now I will mention that there was two audio streams being recorded for the commentary, and the first audio stream, which was of better quality, had some had some problems. There was something wrong with it, or it was lost or misplaced. I don't know the details, but my understanding is that we had to use the second recording, which is a little bit less high quality. So there is some disturbances in the commentary. So I do apologize for that, but I wanted to let people know that beforehand. As for the film itself, it looks freaking great. This was like a regional horror film made in like the late '80s in Ohio. It was like kind of a college film by Jay Wolfel, who I interviewed for the show. So it has this '80s like kind of unique Ohio charm, which I loved. It's shot on 16 millimeters, so that has a specific look to it as well, which I also enjoy. So these are kind of like soft spots for me. And the story is pretty strange. It's very Lovecraftian again. Jay would say so himself, and it also has these weird elements of dreams and surrealism, which basically put it in line to always be compared to Nightmare on Elm Street. But it's very different from Nightmare on Elm Street in the fact that you're not invading the dreams are invading the real world and changing things. But we have this kind of weird element of a creature and this young man who's trying to make a connection in the world, but his dreams are this dream is contagious and it can make people disappear from existence. Has some gore effects in here, a little bit of nudity. It's just a very bizarre, very interesting kind of regional horror film that I've always liked. I've always enjoyed quite a bit. So seeing it remastered is pretty great. There's tons of features on here too. This also comes with Final Exam and Winter Beast, which I'll probably cover later on. But I'll just go over the special features where Horror Lies, a brand new making of documentary featuring interviews with cast and crew. Brand new. That is pretty nice. It's about 40 minutes. Jay Wolfel's on there. The cinematographer's on there. Some of the producers are on there. Nick's on there. So it's a nice little addition. It looks really good too. It's obviously shot for this. Nothing shot on Skype either, so I know that's or Zoom or whatever you want. So then we have a brand new group commentary track with Jay Wolfel, cinematographer Scott Spears, actor Nick Balderdash, and actor Rick Kessler. I listened to that. That was pretty cool as well. And then we have a brand new commentary track with actor Nick Balderdash and moderated by Dave Parker. That's me. So special features as well. The archival stuff that's ported over from the original Cinema Epoch DVD. And I think another lo-fi DVD might have had some features on it as well. There's a group commentary track. A commentary track with director, Behind Dreams Door. Making of documentary, Getting Monstered. FX featurette. Montage of unused and alternate takes. Unused and alternate FX footage. Bloopers and behind the scenes footage. Local news coverage. Multiple deleted scenes. Multiple trailers. Multiple short films with commentary tracks. So yeah, if this one interests you, I would definitely check it out. I've always enjoyed it myself, and I kind of wanted to put a spotlight on it a little bit more because I'm just not necessarily a reviewer or anything like that, because I'm obviously a fan of it, and I obviously had some involvement, although a little bit, with the release. So anyways, check it out. I'd love to see Vinegar Syndrome do more of these regional homegrown horror kind of films like this, kind of maybe compete or be kind of in brother-sister category with the American Horror Project from Arrow, because I love that as well. So anyways, this is Beyond Dreams Door. Great stuff. Check it out. Recommended, of course. Okay, the next one from Arrow Video is Donnie Darko, the 4K. And Donnie Darko is a huge cult film. This comes with both cuts, the theatrical cut, which I believe is the more popular among most people, and the director's cut for those fanatics, and that was like released a few years later with 13 additional minutes and some changes, cues and stuff like that. And it comes with this amazing book, which is pretty heavy duty, lots of glorious, beautiful pictures, hardcover in here. So it's going to be very strange to talk about Donnie Darko. When was this made? I think early 2000s. So this one, as a young person, 2001, it was always a cult item amongst people. You know, it developed this, kind of cult classic status as I got older. In 2001, I probably didn't see it. Probably saw it more in 2003, that kind of time frame. So, I was in high school still, and it was always kind of a slightly confusing, intriguing, interesting movie that almost everybody liked around my age bracket. So you guys know me. I always have problems with films that like kind of do this teenage angst thing. But this is an interesting exception to the rule, because I do like teenage angst when it's self-aware and it's unique and different and stuff like that. So, Donnie Darko is a special movie. It's pretty unique. So, it stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Maggie Gyllenhaal. The cast is tremendous in here. James Duvall, Patrick Swayze, Drew Barrymore. We got Seth Rogen in a small role, and I cannot think of who plays the mother. Kathleen Ross plays the psychiatrist, but the mother in here, she's fantastic too, and her name is skipping my head right now. And also stars the dad. The guy who plays the dad is also in Southland Tales as the president, which is also directed by this director Richard Kelly. And I know a lot of people have some hard feelings towards Southland Tales, but I thought that was pretty enjoyable and crazy and different as well. people complain about the director's cut of Donnie Darko as self-indulgent, but if you like the original, there's no harm in checking out the director's cut either, and I enjoyed both. So I don't know which cut I had initially seen when it was released, if I had picked up the director's cut and watched that as well. But so I watched the director's cut first, and I know the additions to the director's cut include kind of making it more obvious that this is a time travel story, that it's less likely in his head, that we see these elements of the book that this character, Mother Death, wrote. So it's kind of like basically almost hitting you over the head with it. So the plot of Donnie Darko follows Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of an outcast. He's a little bit more, he's more sophisticated and intelligent than his age would suggest. He's kind of an outsider. Comes from an upper middle class family in this upper middle class neighborhood, and one night, because he normally sleepwalks, a jet engine would have fallen into the house and fallen into his room and killed him. But for some reason, he is awoken in the middle of the night, and we see them wake up in the early morning and ride his bike back, and we kind of decide, he kind of realizes that, his family, that he sleepwalked saved his life. And the strange stuff starts to happen there. And you feel like it's happened before. He starts to have these kind of hallucinations of this character named Frank, this 6-foot rabbit with this metal mask. And he starts a relationship with the new girl. And he points out a lot of hypocrisy within this kind of world. And I've heard people complain about this movie that basically it's Richard Kelly transporting himself back to high school and doing these things and being cathartic and saying, that's what I should have said, yada, yada, yada. But like I said, what interests me about this movie is the idea that although when you're in high school, everything is angsty and you can feel it. But as you get older, about 30, even later 25, 30, 35, you start to forget that feeling and it all seems very silly. So if I were to try to come at a high school picture or something like that, I would be completely out of my element. I would not understand how to do it. So Richard Kelly, being in his early 20s, 23, he wasn't so far away from it, but he also wasn't in that complete mindset of high school, but he wasn't so far away from it that he kind of could understand it and also kind of make jokes about it at the same time, which to me comes across a little bit more legit and somewhat intelligent. I think it is intelligent, honestly, and there's lots of cool, interesting things going on about the movie. And I do think that a lot of people hold things against the movie because it's weird. It's like I said, there's so many of these movies that have this fan base that people think that the people that actually like it are stupid. And that's weird to say. And I don't want to make all these assumptions, but I feel like people will be like, oh, it's a cult movie for teenagers, but it is also a good movie. Just because it's a cult movie for teenagers doesn't mean it's any less impactful or intelligent than a lot of people would think. I know, but I just feel like this movie has a lot to offer. So, anyways, it's just very interesting in the fact, and it becomes very funny too. It's very darkly comedic, and you kind of pick up on these supernatural elements of time travel and self-fulfilled prophecy and self-sacrifice and all that kind of stuff. I like the movie. And I think it's clever watching it and seeing how these things unfold and these little patterns in there, even with Watership Down being the movie they're watching, and then the rabbit is also Frank, and then all that kind of stuff. There's just small little things everywhere in the movie that connect, and I like that. The father is great. I actually really enjoy him. I think he's a good actor. He makes me laugh. The mother is also fantastic, and I really like the parents. The interactions between Jake Gyllenhaal and his sister are good, obviously. There's a infamous dinner table scene where they argue that people love. And there's a couple scenes in here which I caught myself laughing out loud quite a bit. The motivational speaker tape that Patrick Swayze's a part of, where everybody's saying all this really corny shit, like, I'm not afraid anymore. That makes me laugh out loud. The gym teacher who is obsessed with the female dance, the female little girls dancing and stuff like that. She's like, sometimes I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion. That's just a very funny, very quotable line. It's a good movie. I enjoy the hell out of it. The soundtrack's great. The soundtrack, I think, works very well. You have Tears for Fear in there, and of course it ends with Mad World, which at the time it came out and a couple years after, it was immensely played out. Everybody heard the song a million times, but not hearing it in so long and playing across that ending I thought was really effective. And I like the idea with the director's cut, kind of hits you over the head with it, that although Donnie Darko has changed what will become, there is that idea that in your dreams or in that feeling deep within you, you feel what possibly could have happened. And that's why James Duvall kind of grabs his eye. And you're like, that's interesting, the fact that maybe even in your dreams or in your subconscious, these feelings are there and these possibilities are there. And it's just kind of interesting to me to think, and I like it. Yeah, so there's lots of good stuff about it. The score is good too, not just the soundtrack. Memorable. And there's nice features on here, which I think were actually made for the initial Blu-ray from Arrow Video, where we have people like talking involved with the film, like Richard Kelly talking about it and stuff like that. And I think it was made for the initial Blu-ray that Arrow put out a while ago, so I don't think it's brand spanking new, but new enough. There's a bunch of archival features on here. There's commentaries for the theatrical cut, and then there's a commentary with Kevin Smith for the director's cut. So there's lots of stuff on the disc. I like Richard Kelly's movies. I thought Southland Tales was a lot of fun and crazy and interesting as well. So he definitely has a particular kind of thing that other people might not like, but I enjoy it and I think it's good stuff. Check out Donnie Darko. Looks really good on Blu-ray. I'm at 4K, and a lot of people were complaining about the theatrical cut having skips or jumps. I didn't notice anything, but I have like a 4K Sony player, and I didn't notice anything. Maybe it's like I can't remember the actual model number, 800 or something, whatever those like serial numbers are. I didn't have any problems. Director's cut played great. Theatrical cut played almost just as good. Like I didn't notice any problems either, really. So I mean, the thing with 4K players in general is they can be buggy, much more buggy than your Blu-ray player or something like that. They don't play as smooth to me. Just basically loading time, that kind of thing. Like it takes a little bit longer to load your disc and everything like that. But that's just kind of early. DVD were like that, early Blu-ray, early Laserdisc. They're just a little shaky at first, but it played fine. Once the disc was loaded, it went perfectly fine and everything like that. Surround sound was great. Thought it was pretty intense shaking and everything like that. Came through clean. So yeah, Donnie Darko, good edition of a pretty great movie. Great edition of a pretty great movie. 4K. Check it out if you like the movie. I know a lot of people do. The book inside it's absolutely beautiful as well. So yeah, again, it has a foreword by Jake Gyllenhaal, so you can't beat that, I guess. Okay, the next one here I've actually covered before, but it's Severin decided to put this bad boy out again on Blu-ray, and how could I pass up watching it again? It is 1977's Day of the Animals by William Girdler. No surprise, I love this movie, and when I watched it for the show a couple years back, it was the first time watch. So I'm a big character actor fan, if you guys haven't noticed, and I love the classic Animals Attacks movies. So this movie basically is an ecological horror film, and I kind of got the impression through the special features that William Girdler necessarily wasn't really into the ideas of ecological horror. I mean, he liked them as a film, but he wasn't any hardcore like environmentalist, but maybe some of the writers and people involved kind of were when you watch like Grizzly and stuff like that. But I do like the idea that we have a lot of people that seem like they, necessarily the people making the movie aren't coming from that light, but the idea of the movie is, you know what I'm saying, if that makes any sense. So the movie has like a decent, good message in there about, being good to the environment. I mean, what's wrong with actually taking care of the environment? But, so I enjoy that, but here's what we go here. Day of the Animals follows the story of Christopher George, who is basically, and Linda Day George as well, but just a friend. And here, she's not a friend, but she's kind of just going on the trip. Christopher George is doing these kind of tours where there's no weapons and no things like that taken in there. And he has this kind of group of people, this mixture of all these sorts of people that want to go on this trip for a couple weeks into the mountains. But there is this kind of ozone, awareness thing going on where is basically the ozone layer is really thin right now and there's holes, so the atmosphere up there is getting really messed up, and there's some kind of reports of animals acting a little crazy. So this is definitely a big kind of place where there's all sorts of animals and everything, mountain lions and freaking wild and wolves and bears and snakes and hawks and rats and tarantulas and everything you could think of under the sun in this kind of area. So Christopher George leads this group, which is filled with a bunch of classic actors, character actors that I love. It's got Andrew Stevens in here, Linda Day George, Paul Manty, I think is his name. You've seen him before. He's recognizable. The guy who has the wife and are constantly bickering is in a couple movies. But most importantly to me, it has the legendary Leslie Nielsen. And if anybody's seen this movie, if you mention Day of the Animals, they will mention Leslie Nielsen, because that's all you need to say about the movie. And this is before the days of, Naked Gun and the parody movies. And Leslie Nielsen was very good at playing a straight man. He plays in the 50s sci-fi movie, the classic one. It's probably before, what is it, Forbidden? I always mix these three titles up. It's not Fantastic Planet, it's Forbidden Planet, which is a really excellent movie, sci-fi film with Leslie Nielsen. And he would be in stuff like Prom Night. And he always kind of played the straight-laced guy until Airplane in 1980. This is a few years before. So Leslie Nielsen in this movie is this kind of business executive, kind of advertising guy, and he is such an asshole. And when they go up to the mountain hiking and everything, the atmosphere is thinner, so he starts to slip and becomes this amazing character that has this amazing line in here that everybody quotes. But it's truly one of my favorite performances from the 70s because I laugh at everything he says because he's such a legit piece of garbage. There's a Native American character that he keeps referring to as Kimosabi, who is the name from the Lone Rider and everything like that. So he keeps saying it like, and you're just like, geez, and he's such an asshole. Just the lines in here, like one of the characters has a horrible bad knee and he's having this type of cancer and he's going up here to try to prove to himself that he is no longer obsolete, that he's not as sick or anything, or maybe get one with nature. Obviously some sort of deep thing to him. And at one point somebody tries to hand Leslie Nielsen a stick because it's dangerous and they don't have weapons and here's to defend yourself. And he's like, so basically he says to this manatee guy, he says, you don't need a stick, you need a cane, and walks away, and you're like, ooh, that's a sick burn, Leslie Nielsen. But I don't want to give everything away. Shirtless Leslie Nielsen. I believe in Melville. If you see something you want, you take it. That's his God. Beautiful. But it's one of these movies from the 70s, so it's dangerous. Like, the animals are dangerous. They have people that train these animals. It looks scary as shit. People kind of interacting with these creatures. And what I truly love about this movie, besides its nature, it's well shot, the actors are on set, they're being tough, is I like the score as well. I like the idea, the plot, and I like that this movie feels like it almost shot in soft focus. Like you can feel the atmosphere in the air, like it's hard to breathe, like it's literally like almost suffocating you. It feels very soft focus. Like the ultimate soft focus fog movie is Conquest, and I feel like there's a little bit of fog haze in this movie too, which adds to it. Also, you get a little bit of a glimpse at the town going crazy below too, a la, almost Kingdom of Spiders style. If you guys ever seen that one with William Shatner. But as the movie progresses, people actually get killed that you care for. And that's the one thing about adventure and action films that modern day, I think, have really kind of lost their gist. They don't have stakes. Throughout this entire movie, you're watching characters kind of more, some of them that are dislikable, some are more likable, and dislikable characters do die, you do expect that. But towards the end of the film, I forgot to mention Richard Jekyll's in this movie too, who's one of my all-time favorite character actors, fantastic. Dirty Dozen, Mako, Jaws of Death, just in tons and tons of great movies, Grizzly. So the movie has these characters that you've become accustomed to, you like them, and they're good guys, and they form this bond. But throughout the movie, they start to die. And you're just like, oh, wow. And the hero of the film at one point has to abandon them. And somebody asks, where are they? And they say, they've had it. And it's just, I thought that was quite, it's I know it's a survival kind of thing in films, but I am really sick of every single character surviving a movie. And they're like, well, we're going to make a sequel. It's like, you're probably not going to get a sequel. Just do what you want. Make people want more. If you do that, they're not going to want more. They're going to see the obvious, the shit that you're doing, and be like, whatever. But really like this one. Great stuff. Even at the ending, it kind of gets all, man in white suit crazies deal, and I'm just like, that's a bit much at the end of this. I think it's a little silly, but I enjoyed the film. So the special features, they are loaded. Nightmare USA author Stephen Thrower on the career of distributor Edward L. Montaro, who seems like a real piece of work, may I add. Piece of shit, I'll say. Nature Boy with actor Bobby Porter, who's the actor I was trying to think of with the bickering wife and him. They're both bickering at each other the entire time. Against Nature, interview with actor Andrew Stevens, who became a producer later on. He's in a bunch of stuff. He's in 10 to Midnight and Death Hunt, and that really cheesy horror movie that Vinegar Syndrome put out a little bit ago. I can't think of its name. And then what else do we have here? Oh, Scared Stiff, I think is the title. And then Monty Cox, Unleashed, interview with animal wrangler Monty Cox. Tells a very funny story about going into a bar. Linda and the Animals, interview with actress Linda Day George, which is also great. She seemed very nice. Something Was Out There, Day of the Animals, 30 years later, archival making of Day of the Animals featurette. Audio commentary with actress Linda Day George and John Cedar, moderated by Evil Dead 2 co-writer Scott Spiegel. Bobby Porter, I'm sorry, is not the actor I was thinking of with the bickering wife. That's John Cedar. Bobby Porter is the one who played the little kid. And his story is interesting because he was actually 18 years old when he was making this, but he had some sort of, he looked very young for his age. He was very small. So he kind of talks a little bit about playing that kind of character and almost doing it. He was a stuntman, so doing his own stunts, which is also really cool. And he breaks down working with all the actors and seems to have enjoyed himself. So I'll correct that. And then we have an audio commentary. Also, that commentary is the one I just mentioned is moderated by Scott Spiegel. Audio commentary with Lee Gambon, who is pretty much one of the authorities on these massacred, these animal attacks films. He's the author of Massacred by Mother Nature, exploring the natural horror film, and he's a fast talker. He squeezes in a lot of information and does a lot of drops on other animal attacks films. And then we have an alternate opening title sequence. Something is out there. We have radio spots, TV spot, and a trailer. So it is a different print from the one that Code Red put out. I believe it's probably better. I know that there was problems with the Grizzly original one, but Day of the Animals, you got to see it. If you like animal attacks movies, check it out. If you're only familiar with the newer sci-fi animal attacks movies, give some of the older ones a shot, like Day of the Animals and Alligator, and of course Grizzly and Jaws. If you haven't seen Jaws, what are you even doing here? Go watch Jaws. But you know what I mean. So anyways, Day of the Animals, highly recommended. One of my favorite animal attacks movies for sure. Top five. Okay, the next one we have from Severin Films is another William Girdler movie, and this is Grizzly. That's right, Grizzly. Can't go wrong with the Grizzly. This is a movie that I rented 457 times as a kid just because the case had a giant grizzly on it. I'm like, oh man, it's a giant grizzly bear. And I only watched it a handful of times. It's just the case, the idea captivated me. I like the big animals. I love the large animals attacking everyone, that kind of deal. So Grizzly, everybody always says, and it's probably true, right, is a ripoff of Jaws. Basically what happened is I think that they had read the novel Jaws and there was a novelization Grizzly and they wanted to make the film. So there's kind of this big story of them trying to make the movie. It came out a year after Jaws, and essentially it's very similar to that plot. We have this somewhat prehistoric bear, we think, but it's a very large bear that is roaming around this kind of campground area, this nature reserve, and killing people. The bear kills people like it's a slasher movie. It stalks these beautiful women and then slashes them up with its claws, sometimes seemingly hiding the body or possibly throwing it up. You don't know. But there's even a scene where a girl strips down to take a dip in the water and the bear sneaks out like, not sneaks out, but you see the claw go by. So it's like Jaws, but a slasher at the same time at points. Christopher George is kind of like the ranger that kind of runs this place, and he constantly has to deal with the guy who runs the park, who is essentially Murray Hamilton from Jaws, who's constantly bitching at him and having his own ideas of complete bullshit, and he never wants to admit that there's a bear out there that could be highly dangerous, that they didn't actually forget about, that it came from somewhere else. Richard Jekyll is in the movie. He's fantastic, and he plays kind of like this survivalist who studies the bears, kind of a weird guy. He plays the Richard Dreyfuss style character. And then we have Andrew Prime, who's really great in this movie as well. Probably my favorite performance of his, and it's been a while since I watched Centerfold Girls, which he's really good in as well, which is a crazy, weird exploitation film, which I really would like to revisit sometime. So Andrew Prime plays this ex-Vietnam vet who flies the helicopter and everything like that. And he's got a wonderful speech, which is probably a take on Quint's speech with the, Indianapolis Mission of the Shark movie. Based on, this is a true story. All these guys and this boat went down and all the sharks and barracudas attacked him and killed him and everything like that. Kind of a scary story about war and everything. Basically, he redoes this whole speech in that film, basically talking about, because he was there. So we kind of have a take on that in this Grizzly movie with Andrew Prine, and I loved it. I felt like it had more weight in it than so many other movies that are modern. Like, I was into it, man. And somehow these 70s movies can drop these long monologues that actually have an impact for me. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just a 70s, 80s purist, and 90s, but it's just like, I like that stuff. I do. But so anyways, they all have to kind of team up and stop this Grizzly. The Grizzly is, mostly played by an actual grizzly, which I absolutely loved. It knocks down towers. It does all sorts of crazy stuff. It stalks. And there's a really twisted, demented scene in this movie where your jaw hits the ground involving a child. And I was just like, every time you watch it, you're like, it's rated PG. You're like, PG my ass? What are you doing to me here? If I was the ratings board, I'd be like, Are you on drugs? Like, I know like Spielberg can get away with that stuff, but he's the exception to the rule. Spielberg could literally like just kill puppies for an hour and a half and they'd be like, well, we're gonna give this a PG. I'm just kidding. I'm exaggerating, obviously. I'm being hyperbole or whatever. But it just feels like that sometimes. But in Grizzly, that scene is just literally like, wow, that's pretty intense stuff. It's a good movie. It ends on an insane level. And again, there are stakes. Characters you love do die, and it's bothersome. So here we go. The special features include Nightmare USA Stephen Thrower on the career of William Girdler. He breaks down everything, and he even talks about his death, which is really messed up. Girdler died very young, if you don't know the story. He had directed several movies, a few of which are kind of cult classics, and a couple others which are definitely worth seeking out, including Three on a Meat Hook. But he talks about his career and his death, which is quite sad. And then we have Making Movies with Girdler, audio interview with business partner and friend Patrick J. Kelly, accompanied by his personal collection of stills, posters, and newly scanned 8mm home video movies. He talks about his life as well. Towering Fury interview with actor Tom Arlecchigi. I'm sorry, Italian names are pretty rough for me. The Grizzly Details interview with producer David Shelton and actress Joan McCall. Audio commentary with Mondo Digital's Nathaniel Thompson and film writer Troy Howarth, which is great. And Troy Howarth has become one of these voices that I've kind of just grown to love. I mean, I always thought he was good, but maybe it's also on Facebook how nice he is and posting pictures of his adorable cat Wookie. But did a really good job in here. Enjoyed it, and him and Thompson have a good back and forth, and they talk about the movie quite a bit. It's a little bit of a different approach than Lee Gambin, because Lee Gambin was doing a solo thing. This is more of them back and forth and everything, talking about the movie, making a little bit of jokes or just quotes. They're obviously fans of the film, and they do mention that well, at least Troy does, that he's a little bit bigger fan of Day of the Animals, as am I myself. So, and then movie making in the wilderness, vintage making of, Jaws with Claws, archival featurette, radio spots, trailers. So yeah, this one I don't think I ever got a chance to watch my initial Code Red Blu-ray, so I can't compare. But this one looked pretty solid. It's got great cover art, great movie. One of the other best animal attacks movies. Now I don't think Grizzly's quite as good as Alligator or Piranha, but it's right up there. And so check it out. It is Grizzly, Jaws with Claws apparently. Okay, here we go. Here's one that I never actually got a chance to watch when it came out, but this is Hounds of Love. And this was, I think, initially 2016, 2017. So yeah, I finally put this in, and the runtime's a little long. It's an hour and about 48 minutes here, and I'll be brief with it. I did enjoy it. It is a very good movie. I like how it's shot, but what we have here is this couple that is very sick, and they pick up young girls, and they torture and kill them. Basically, this follows the story of one sad young girl who is captured and tortured, and we're basically hoping for her survival. She comes from a rich divorced family, so she has this outing with her mother, and her parents are always kind of don't really like each other. The mother wants to be independent, but yet she's more poor than so she kind of like has this resentment towards her own mother. And while the kidnapping duo, the woman of it, had lost her child, so she has this longing for her daughter. So there's this little bit of complexities within that. The actual guy who kidnaps the girl is just like a complete utter monster and trashy. So here's the weird kind of thing here. So I really like the needle drops in the movie. They use Nick Cave singing Boys Don't... What is it? Boys Don't Cry? Boys Next Door is the band. And Shivers. Shivers is the song. I love that song. It's one of my favorite songs. But they open up with that fairly in the beginning. In the movie, I heard it and I was like, well, that scores some points for me right there. I love Nick Cave. So then we also have this kind of slow motion looking at the schoolyard. And I was like, that's a nice effective shot. So here's kind of the gist of it for me. I think the filmmaking is great. I think the acting is great, the lighting, all that kind of stuff is top notch for me. The script itself is just a little lackluster, and the characters themselves are basically just their situations. I feel like there's not too much more about them, although they have some sort of like obvious internal debates with themselves and problems in their life, but their main problem is obviously what's going on now. So they just basically become that kind of character. Like I never particularly was invested in any of the characters in the film. But I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think it's poorly made or anything like that. I think it's actually a very good film on a technical level and everything like that. So, there's my main problem with the film is, and it's gritty and realistic at times. So it has this element of this woman who's being abused by the man she's with, her husband. And he's such a piece of garbage. You can't stand him when he interacts with other people outside of his home. He is a pushover. He's a wimp, which is very common for people that do this kind of horrible act to other people. They are really very useless in real life and pushovers. So he ends up just treating her so poorly and manipulating her to a mass level that she is a bigger monster, not a bigger monster than him, but she is a monster as well. So, although the film may seem like it's partially trying to have you garner sympathy for her, I still despised her so much. And here's what it is. Someone who is good-natured and sweet, that is constantly manipulated in a film, you genuinely have deep sympathy for. But someone who is very easily manipulated and vile and disgusting in a movie, you just hate even more. So that's what it came to. So at the end, when we have this kind of catharsis, when a character possibly does the right thing, I just didn't care much about it. And that scene should have broke my heart. This scene should have been a reuniting kind of deal. But like I said, there's no problems with the actual person who's kidnapped. I liked her, although she didn't have too much of character. And I don't, she had this obvious teenage angst stuff going on towards her mother and everything. But overall, I think it's a good film that just doesn't work too much on a script level for me, if that makes any sense. As for like the acting and technical stuff, it's top notch. It's like next level, especially for a film debut. But as far as the story is concerned, it just doesn't do much for me, and the runtime's a little long, and it is a tad bit repetitive. But the character does do things that I would have done too. Like, spoiler, there is an attempted rape on her, and she just shits herself, and she's tied up. You're like, good for you, because fuck him. I would have shit myself too. You want it, you're gonna have to dig through piles of shit to get it. So yeah, Hounds of Love. Okay, the next one here is from 2017 or 2016. I get these confused. 2017, and this is Mom and Dad. Starring Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair. I didn't get a chance to watch this one when it came out. And this was like kind of during, obviously, the renaissance of Cage Rage. Nicolas Cage, when I was young, was always kind of an A-list actor and stuff. Like I would see him in like The Rock or Con Air, and before that, Raising Arizona. It's just Nick Cage. He's a great actor. He's very entertaining. And as I got older through high school and a little later, he started to be in these ridiculous movies. And I didn't really grasp it. I was just like, these are bad. These aren't good. These don't interest me anymore. So he became kind of like a joke to everybody. And that's pretty shitty, honestly, because dude's got to eat, right? And then he kind of felt like he had a renaissance. And I wasn't one of these guys who was on Nicolas Cage's side the entire time. I'm like, he's always been great. But like, you can see the greatness now as and I was probably younger, just being an angsty teen, like, he's stupid. I don't like him. Why is he in this National Treasure movie? I ain't watching that. That ain't Indiana Jones. But as I got older, I seen him start popping up in these kind of crazy movies, including Mandy. In the recent years, he started popping up in these crazy movies like Color Out of Space and Mandy, and I was like, man, this dude is pretty great in these movies when you use him right. So when I put in Mom and Dad, I was super kind of excited to see Nicolas Cage lose his shit, and he does a great job in this one. So the basic plot, it's very simple, but it's very effective, and it's kind of a crazy what if. So for some reason, every parent in what we see as the United States, at least, probably the world, wants to kill their child. No matter what, they just have this deep instinct to kill their child. So it follows this family and Nicolas Cage assembled there trying to kill their kids. At a point, it becomes a siege movie where they're trapped in the basement. But we have these kind of flashbacks that make the moments even more impactful. And we see like them interact with their kids when they were kind of happy or in a better level. And we actually get to see Nicolas Cage's kind of like life and almost a midlife crisis. The speech he gives about being a balding cottage cheese thigh, muffin top, that whole thing he gives, I was like, you know what? I genuinely feel this. Getting older, you're like, yes. I can see like that kind of angst within it. And the centerpiece in his life is this car that kind of, it has an elaborate, nice side story predating to his father, which I loved. There's some pretty intense, crazy, all-out moments too. It is kind of simple, but it's very effective in what it does. And the ending may leave people wanting more, but I kind of, while watching, I was just like, I kind of like it open-ended just to be like that. Don't want to spoil too much, but Lance Hendrickson's also in here. She's pretty great. So the parents are definitely going through this midlife crisis, and we have Selma Blair. kind of going through it as well, and she has like these interactions with her daughter and is very upset with it, and like there's a nice scene in a hospital with her sister that I thought was fantastic and horrifying. So they kind of do, when they do What If, they kind of explore some more elements to it as well. But anyways, Mom and Dad, I really liked it. Some good special effects too. It's not overly super gory, but there's some oh shit moments in it, so great stuff, enjoyable as hell, good stuff too. Good stuff and great stuff. Yeah, it's stuff. It's just stuff. Okay, this next one here is Revenge from 2017. And is this by a French director? I think she may be a French director. I cannot remember. But director Coralie Flaguet, I'm not 100%. So this is one that I bought right when it came out. Never got a chance to watch it. You guys know that I love revenge films. So, and the idea of seeing a different aspect in a rape revenge film is interesting to me at the same time. So yeah. I've heard quite a bit about this film. Visually, I love how it looks. It's super bright. Not many horror films take place, or many kind of extreme thrillers or anything like that, take place in the brightness. Everything is super bright. It's kind of a desert area, so the bright blue skies and the beautiful kind of golden sand. So we have this kind of Western quality to it at the same time, but we have this hyper violence. You know, these French movies, for some reason, it's realistic, but the violence is over exaggerated. So like you can lose 30 gallons of blood and still go to the store and be fine. Like, hey, I'm all right. I just lost, 16 million pounds of blood, but I'll be all right. Liters of blood, okay? But it's just that kind of weird thing about the movie. So if you're going to be bothered by, excessive blood loss without death, then you might not like this one. And I had been warned previously that like a lot of people bleed a lot and they don't die. I'm like, I'm okay with it. It has like this comic book vibe, although it is serious and tackling serious subject matter. So it's just kind of a tone and a thing you got to get into, and you're either going to like it or you're not. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. So basically what we have here is this I feel like he's a playboy. He has this isolated kind of villa where his wife doesn't know about, kind of like maybe a hunting ranch. It's very beautiful. And him and this beautiful girl fly in to kind of have a couple nights of partying and sex and all that stuff. And they seem to, it seems like an affair, but it seems like a very good, their relationship is good. So, and what I really like about this movie is the character, the main character here, like, a lot of movies, they would make the person who's going to be the victim and then get the revenge like a virginal girl, like where they're like, she's so sweet and innocent. I can't believe they did that to her. But she is just like somebody who, I don't want to say promiscuous because, it's obvious, just two consenting adults, even if the guy's at fault for cheating on his wife. She's not at fault for it, okay? I know people like, but she helped, whatever, it's on him, if you ask me. So they make somebody who is like sexually active, who is somebody that likes to party, will be flirtatious, and so it's making these lines not like, I don't want to say blurry. It's telling you that this is fucked up and wrong no matter who is raped, and just because it's not some virginal sweet 16-year-old girl in a high school doesn't mean it's any different. The assault and rape is just because somebody's wearing something or some shit doesn't mean that it's okay. Or like, that bullshit that people be like, well, I always make like fun of people that are like, you see what she was wearing though, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of idea that, yes, she may be willing to dance in that kind of way with somebody, but it just doesn't mean anything but just being flirtatious or having fun, and it doesn't give you an invitation to rape somebody, which is, you know what I mean? So basically what happens is these two kind of hunter guys show up a little early, and he has to go do some business. One night they had gotten kind of party mode, and she was kind of just dancing with this guy, and he got the wrong idea. He has obviously an infatuation with her the next morning, and she kind of realizes this and kind of wants to let him down and just kind of be left alone, but unfortunately, he's not going to have that. He ends up raping her. The other guy does nothing, and there's a really crazy scene where he walks in eating, and they're like, oh, this guy's a pig. They basically make him a pig of the movie. Slow motion of him chewing. So it's very like stylized slow motion and stuff like that. So basically, it's a really messed up situation what happens after that. And I don't want to spoil too much, but they start to hunt her, and she's not going to go out peacefully. There is a injury that she receives and a great scar that she receives, a cauterized wound that is also wonderful, and obviously symbolism. There is a crazy surreal tripping scene, which I thought was pretty cool. And there is explicit violence towards these guys, and I really enjoyed it. And at the end of the film, they kind of turn this on its head, because instead of, the naked girl running around being afraid, we have this kind of handsome, naked man, almost very scared, kind of terrified for his life, running around naked, dong swinging out in the wind and everything like that. So I thought that was a nice little switch on the genre itself too. So it's a movie that kind of changes the genre around, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was good stuff. I thought it was an interesting movie too. So yeah, great stuff. Really well shot, beautiful to look at too. That is Revenge. Okay, the next one here is one that I missed out on that I'm checking out. It is a Dark Song. This is a Shout Factory IFC release, and I had heard a lot of good things about this. Ooh, something in my mouth. A lot of good things about this one. So I put it in, and the lead male. There's two basic. This is a two-person picture, really. So we have this woman who hires this somewhat kind of I don't even know how to go about it. Maybe like I don't want to say like what he is, what kind of stuff he does. He basically he's involved with the occult and the supernatural and everything like that, communicating with gods and all that kind of deal. So she wants him to perform a ritual for them. It's a very complicated for her. It's a very complicated ritual. She needs to supposedly speak to someone that had passed. He doesn't. He's very reluctant to do it. She eventually convinces him, and the rules they lay down are pretty intense and crazy. They have to be isolated in this house. They have to do all these kind of strange things. And at first, he seems like a real awful person. He's actually in a bunch of UK films. You'd recognize him from Sightseers or The Canal. Very good actor, very good actor. And the two performances in here are fantastic. Because really, it's just these two characters talking a lot of the times and slight supernatural things happening until it builds up into a crazy ending. But the ending is really powerful, really well done, and it brings up a really twisted, messed up question that I was like, at first I was like, what are you doing here? And then I was like, oh shit. Oh, that's awful. That's really, truly awful. And you understand why this person would go through anything to get this ritual to happen. I really liked it. I thought it was very good and very creepy. It gets pretty batshit at the end. Maybe some, I guess I wouldn't say Fulci-isms, but you could say a little bit of Fulciness. And there was one point where they almost lost me, but they brought me completely back, and I really liked the film. It is a little long, and it could be a little repetitive to people, but that kind of it plays into the rhythm of the film. Anyways, I thought it was a really good movie, a dark song. I would check it out for sure. I don't want to spoil too much, and I just don't have that much to say about the movie in itself without, pretty much revealing a huge end thing, and I don't want to do that. So, but that's a dark song. Good stuff. Okay, the next one is the Patreon pick, and this is Moonstruck. That's right. This is, who's the director of this? Norman Judson, who I don't think I've ever seen anything by. He's a name that I've heard brought up a bunch of times, and I just can't recollect anything off the top of my head. I'm sure I have seen it. But this stars Cher, Nicolas Cage, Danny Aiello, and some other people. What's the guy's name? John Mahoney I recognized in here. So, okay, this is a Patreon pick. This is not something I typically would watch, but I do love all sorts of films, and I think it's very good to watch different kinds of films. I don't think it's good to constantly watch cult films or anything like that. I think it broadens your horizons, helps you understand other things, and this is a very good movie, so why not? So we have Cher, who is a middle-aged woman. She's already lost one husband, so she's kind of like realizing that she wants to be married. Danny Aiello is who she's dating, who's fantastic. I love Danny Aiello. Loved him since I was 4 years old and I saw Hudson Hawk 100 times. Always liked him. He's one of my favorite kind of like this favorite characters was Two-Tone Tony in that movie. I love him in that movie. He basically proposes to Cher. They're planned to be married, and he's got to go back to old country to kind of say goodbye to his dying mother. Cher still lives with her parents. The dad is Vincent Gardenia, who's in Cold Turkey and Death Wish 1 and 2 and Little Shop of Horrors. He's a great actor. He's great in this too. And I can't think of who plays the mother. She's also fantastic. Lives with her parents, so they have that kind of relationship where they're out there. And one day, Danny Aiello basically tells her, you got to get in contact with my brother. We have bad blood. You got to invite him to the wedding. We can't have this falling out forever. So she basically contacts the brother, goes to meet him. He seems like a prick asshole. It's Nicolas Cage. He's a bread maker, and he's got one hand, and he blames the loss of it on Danny Aiello. So they start to talk, and of course, they have some attraction to each other, and they start a relationship. But what's really fun about this movie is Vincent Gardenia. He also might have something going on. And it's like this weird thing where all these characters are kind of having these out relationships and everything like that. And also the grandfather of Cher lives with them too. So he has a bunch of dogs. So it's kind of like broad kind of humor there with the dogs. But the whole movie has this weird element of the moon where Vincent Gardenia's brother-in-law tells this elaborate story about him waiting, Vincent Gardenia actually waiting for his sister down there, and the moon was full, and he said he brought the moon. So that plays into it, and this moon seems to have some sort of like lovesick kind of thing on everybody. But it's kind of funny too, and crazy that all these characters are possibly carrying on these affairs and don't want other people to realize it and stuff. And John Mahoney is this character that's in this restaurant all the time where he's always dating younger women, and he has a really great scene in here too. So I like Cher. I thought she was good. She's very fun to watch. Danny Aiello is great. Vincent Gardenia and the mother are fantastic. The brother and sister married to the aunt and uncle are great. Everybody's pretty good in this. Nicolas Cage has a very strange performance. Speaking of Nicolas Cage, here's one of him young. A very strange, crazy, weird performance. Pretty intense though at the same time. And the story about losing his hand, you're like, how's that Danny Aiello's fault? That's just like, you're just crazy. But there's also some good gags with Danny Aiello and his mother and how big of a wimp he is about it. But it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. And it makes me wish I was Italian. Maybe I can just I'm going to be Italian now. Is that okay? Can I do that? But anyways, Moonstruck, good stuff. Enjoyable as hell. What?
What is this?
Zombie Bloodbath 2, Rage of the Undead.
Oh.
What? You ain't seen Zombie Bloodbath 2, Rage of the Undead?
Nah, I guess I must have missed that one.
You ain't seen nothing.
You ain't seen nothing.
I seen way more than you.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't seen Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, Casino, Cannibal Holocaust, The Beginning, The Great Escape, Kelly's Heroes, Once Upon a Time in the fucking West.
You haven't seen War and Peace, Pink Flamingos, Casablanca, Gone with the Wind, Citizen Kane, The Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas Special.
You haven't seen, what else haven't you seen? The Magnificent Seven? The Magnificent Seven Ride Again? The Magnificent Seven Are Back? Is that a movie? And last of all, you ain't seen Zombie Bloodbath 2, Rage of the Undead.
And you haven't seen War and Peace.
I ain't watching War and Peace.
The hell you are.
Fuck War and Peace! Alright, we're here for You Ain't Seen. Hopefully you like that new opening. There was obviously some problems. I probably should have brightened it up or, turned the lighting up and turned the exposure down. There was a sound interference because I think the Tascam had a cell phone or a Wi-Fi modem, kind of caused some of the sound to be distorted. A couple cuts that I'm not super thrilled with, but it's a minute-long intro, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. The new segment You Ain't Seen, we'll be picking segments for a movie for each other, like You Ain't Seen. And the whole idea of it, is that Zombie Bloodbath 2, it's kind of a joke that horror fans in particular, every time somebody says, well, I haven't seen that one, they act like it's some huge, you ain't never seen or you ain't seen, and they name some super obscure movie like everybody's seen it. Like, it's some weird gatekeeper tactic. It's kind of funny to me. So we kind of did that. And there's the movies we were naming, I think were pretty much all accurate, that we haven't seen. There's a lot of classics I've missed. So this is going to be not just horror, sci-fi. It's going to be any kind of genre. We're also going to continue to do the blind spot where we each pick movies that we want to watch that we haven't seen. And we'll also do a universal and an amicus. But we're going to pick and choose when we do these segments until they're done. This one will probably never get done. So we'll kind of continue this one forever.
Yeah, probably just keep it going from here on out rather than pick a theme each year. Yeah. It'll just, be cooler that way. That
way we have blind spot and this, so we can always go back to this. And then
right.
we'll add in new segments when we feel like it.
Which that I think was, I might have said this last time on video, but the big problem with the Hammer one is sometimes you just hit these slumps where they just had a slew of a bad 5 years, and it was like...
Or they're just they're meant to be watched once a month or once a year, and you see this similar movie, back to back to back, and they don't get you're not fair with them.
Right.
So this one is, I picked a movie for you. Mm-hmm. It is Train to Busan from 2016. It's pretty epic Korean zombie film. Kind of took the world by storm. It's very popular. Made a lot of money over there. Made a big kind of impact here, I think. Spawned 2 sequels, one animated, which I'm not particularly fond of, and then Train to Busan Peninsula, which I actually really liked. A lot of people didn't. But I believe that this one is the superior film. So the plot basically follows a zombie outbreak and the survivors. So the survivors, mostly they're focused on a train, trying to get to Busan because that's supposedly a safe area. Most of the stuff is them working together, but of course, in true zombie fashion, there's at least one asshole that kind of turns the tides a little bit. What'd you think of it?
Oh, fantastic. It was really, engaging. The action was great. All the characters were fantastic. There wasn't like just like I don't want to spend time with this character. Even some of the like the
assholes,
they're really good. One asshole character, I called him the Bruiser.
Oh, that guy's not an asshole.
No, he's an asshole. Don't get me wrong.
No, he's not. The main guy's the asshole.
The main guy's also an asshole, but so is Bruiser.
Bruiser's not an asshole.
Bruiser's like a thug.
No, he's not. I don't think you misread that guy. That guy's just a middle-aged guy. There's no way he's just a dad. He's just a soon-to-be dad. Yes, he is. He's soon-to-be dad. He's a young guy. He looks like I bet he's a professional wrestler or something.
I'm sure he is. No, he had like a criminal element about him.
I don't think so.
Oh, totally.
You think so?
I think I know just enough Korean to tell that he was like
But he also happens to be probably one of the best characters in the film, if not the best character.
He is. He absolutely is.
And he also has some of the most heartfelt scenes in the film.
He does. And that's the thing. I call him an asshole, but it's only because he's kind of like this, like, gangster kind of guy.
I don't think he is. I didn't read him like that.
Oh. I mean, just the way he was talking.
Oh, I don't see. I don't have the language patterns like you do. So basically, you feel like he probably would have had that kid and everything would have been perfectly fine. He would have grown up and just But so there's, like I said, there's a lot of characters. The main two, I guess I'll say, is a father and a daughter. It's a very typical kind of like film thing where it's like the parent never spends time with his kid, and now he's finally doing something right for his kid, and it's going to be in this fucking tragic circumstances where they have to survive. Yeah, at first you kind of, I never disliked the guy. I never disliked him, although he kind of is not exactly sympathetic, but you feel kind of like him anyways. Maybe he's just the main focal point. The daughter I love. She's a fantastic actress.
The daughter is fantastic.
The two sisters are great.
The older couple are great, and probably two of my favorite characters, although they're not in it that much.
Yeah, they are. They're in it a bit. So, like, it follows all these characters, and of course some are going to die. This movie is, I don't want to say the term not precious with the characters, because it's very precious with his characters, but it's not afraid to kill them. No. The movie is almost just there to, like, it's not dark, but it is very emotional. Throughout the movie, I caught myself getting very invested in a lot of things that are happening. This was a rewatch for me, and I always liked it. And I just definitely wanted to rewatch it. And I figured you'd like it because you like zombies, but you tend to like the better zombie films, the classics like the Romero or Eternally Dead. I just don't want to spoil too much. A lot of people said that they thought the CGI looked terrible. I didn't really think it looked bad at all, but I think that a lot of CGI can look poor on, it's going to be weird, on like smaller television sets.
I think it can look there. I think a lot of the CG in here, there's like a few scenes where the zombies are CGI. A lot of the vehicles are CG, but they usually translates well for me. Anything that's inorganic when it comes to computer graphics, I think tends to hold up better than like an organic thing. So like a machine, a vehicle, maybe even like obviously like environment.
Well, they said like some of the train stuff, and it's like I'm fine with it. It never bothered me. Same thing with Peninsula. On the 4K of Peninsula, I thought looked pretty solid actually. So I know a lot of people complain about that stuff, and I'm not a big on CGI gore and stuff, but that's not really where the CGI comes in. It comes in like huge epic things, and I do prefer practical effects, but the CGI never bothered me here.
Right.
There is some things about the zombies that are different, which I like. I mean, they're obviously somewhat blind. They kind of use their sense of hearing, so when it's dark, they can't really register it too much. Mm-hmm. But this movie is just almost a family drama with zombies. But you're so invested in the characters, and there's a moment when one of the characters does something, you're like, yeah. At that point, I definitely would have done the same thing, because fuck them. Do you have anything else you want to say? Do you want to talk about kind of the spoiling moments? There's like 2 or 3 moments in here where I get teary-eyed, to be honest.
There are a handful. I don't know. It's still rather new, isn't it?
Yeah, most people have seen this movie, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if we want to spoil, we can spoil it.
Yeah, the first time I watched this movie, when the bruiser guy, he bites it, I got really emotional. But this time, I actually got emotional when the sisters, the old nice lady sister, got separated, and she ended up dying shortly after the. It's like a two punch there, because they don't just kill one character, they kill the other one, and then the ending too. The ending is just like, oh wow, like. It's real dark. It's like I said, it's not dark.
It's upsetting.
It's sad. It's
depressing,
like legit
not dark. Sad because you're rooting for these characters the whole time, and you're kind of like, man. And it was Donald Trump too, of all things.
We shouldn't say that because there's probably there's like 25% of people watching like, sons are bitches. But oh well. He just had that Trumpian thing to me where he was like, well, he's infected. Like,
Oh, yeah.
And he's a great character. He's really entertaining and enjoyable in the movie. But I feel like he kind of was like that. Like, he would just, like, divert everything to somebody else.
Oh, yeah, and even,
Well, it's mob mentality, too. People do get like that in certain
Right.
situations. They'll start to point fingers at each other. Everybody does that kind of shit.
Right, well, even in the beginning, though, his first interaction with the daughter, he was, like, studying school, you'll end up like him. It was like a homeless guy on the train, and the daughter was like, my mom says that people who say that are bad people, and sure enough, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, that's very easy foreshadowing stuff.
Oh, it was easy. I mean, because he's a non-character up until probably like the half mark, and then when they get to this the first station, I think that's when you see like, oh, and then that's when he starts like real to be a sort of villain.
Yeah.
There is this kind of like big reveal towards the end
where it's like a self-reflecting, like, are we responsible because we have stocks in the company that caused it? And I don't think it really works that well, but they tried to carry that idea completely, like the classism in the animated version so much, and it's really ham-fisted in the end. I didn't care for the animated one. I felt it was real ham-fisted and came across cheesy, and there's just a tad bit, just a little bit of that in here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of classism. Or I mean, there's big classism in this.
But I'm just saying the little bit of ham-fistedness in here, just a little bit to me.
But the whole like reveal of like, oh, we had stock in the company where this originated from, and I don't know, it really missed the mark. I think it's because the whole company stuff isn't really
explored enough. We know he isn't overworked, but also trains are awesome and underutilized in film. Have you ever seen like Running? What is that? Runaway Train is fantastic. Narrow Margin is cool, but we have Howl, which is a horror film on a train. Terror Train, of course. The Emperor of the North, which is a fantastic movie. I really tend to like trains. Horror Express, which is probably one of the best. So yeah, there's lots of train stuff going on. Train films, train horror films that I really dig, and this one's no exception. I know there's one with Burt Lancaster called The Train, which I'll have to watch, which is supposed to be pretty good.
But we as a country, we're not a train using country. I really wish we were. But we just don't. We have cars. Our cities are designed around cars.
A lot of those train movies are period pieces.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. But if you go to any Asian country, you're going to see a lot of train movies, I feel.
Yeah.
All in all, I mean, this is really good. I'd probably give it like a 4.5.
4.5. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 myself. Yeah, no, it's not in any books. It's way too new.
He's going to say 9 out of 10, like ain't a not like 4 out of 5. It's the same score.
You said no, it's not. 4.5 out of 5 is.
It's the same score.
Well, I'll give it a 9.5 then.
I might knock a star off because he's acting up.
See, he's just doing this. It's bullshit. So, did you want to pick the movie for me?
For next week.
You ain't seen? Ask me a movie I haven't seen.
Oh yeah, we should probably because I don't know how. Yeah, because we're probably going to do a list and draw it. Is that how we're going to do it?
Yeah, next week we are definitely gonna. No, we're not gonna make a list. I don't want to do that. We're just gonna go back and forth and pick one for each other when we do it. There is going to be a list, though, for the blind spot. We're going to do some sort of list, but we just have to figure it out.
Right. Do you want to do Tampopo? Do you have Tampopo?
No, I got the Criterion channel, though. It's probably on that.
We'll do Tampopo if it's on Critteron. If it's not on Critteron, then we'll do...
it's Criterion channel.
Yeah, sorry. Then you want to do Planet of the Apes 3?
Yeah, we can do that, but you haven't seen it either. Isn't that cheating?
It's not cheating because we're just kind of like ad-libbing this, but I think
no, we're not.
I think that they should know what we're going to watch.
I do. We'll do Tom Popo next.
Tom Popo next, yeah.
I can always
So watch Tom Popo with us, and then you can listen to us talk about it in 1 week's time, which is also 7 moons time, and nobody knows what that's a reference to.
Inside joke for you. Pulling Lord Shadow Walker, who nobody... We'll tell the story eventually.
We'll tell the story later.
But, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. See you.
Bye.
Okay, comments, questions, and answers. I asked you last time... What did I ask you guys last time? I can't remember. I'll see it when I get there. Okay, so EC Misio, long live your channel. I remember when I really got on the horror reviews and collecting back in 2012, your channel was there, and I was like, why is this dude's video so pixelated? SOV, baby. Haha, look at you now. No, seriously, it makes me happy to see you still kicking and going strong. You are definitely one of the truest horror veterans on YouTube and beyond that never compromised their love for horror. Mad respect, so much mad respect. Thank you very much. And I love your comments. They're always very interesting and entertaining, and thank you for watching. Bad Brains Horror. Hey, Dave. Awesome update. Glad you're keeping Blind Spot and adding more Jeremy segments. Can he do a segment on why he hasn't seen Psycho? Ha. What do you think of Zabi buying controlling interest in Arrow Video? Trouble ahead or no big deal? Evil Dead Trap from On Earth looks really good. Never saw that, but remember Synapse DVD. Oh, geez. I have no idea. I don't know how Zabi operates, really. It is kind of strange. I completely forgot that happened. So let's hope that Arrow continues as they are, because they're great and one of the best companies in the business. And Zavi is a good company. I've ordered from them before, so hopefully we won't have any problems. Peekaboo, happy 4th anniversary, Sensei Mrparka. Killer Pinata looks much fun. Those baboons are scary crazy. They actually can get so angry they can die in a heart attack. That's my life. That's what I'm going to do. If you ever listen to me on 22 Shots of Moods and Horror, JP just brings out the anger. Since you don't like chimpanzees, does that mean you want to hug a hippo as much as me? Hippos are terrifying. Have you ever seen Congo? They're mean. The cat. I'm basing all my life experiences on Congo, so that's why I never trust Tim Curry. The Cat 1992 looks hilarious. The humor which I have talked about before when it comes to Hong Kong movie is called Mo Li Tao and basically means nonsense. Question of the week: since humans are primates, I basically asked what was your favorite killer primate movie. He says, question of the week: since humans are primates too, I go for the 2008 South Korean movie Gogol. Directly translated, it means famine or filth. It is by no stretch a gorefest, but just as depressing and filthy. But I love it. Highly recommended. 128 minutes and only 2 or 3 lines in an entire movie. Great update and video as always. Be safe. Nick Mua, happy anniversary, 4th anniversary, sir, and long may your show continue. No less than 400 years, please. And I watched Beyond Dreams Door very recently, and then watched it again. With your and the actor Nick Baldazar's commentary. I must say I enjoyed my first Mrparka commentary very much. The track is soft-spoken, informative, and witty. Congrats, sir. Thank you. As for the favorite Lethal Panther movie, 1986 Link comes to mind. Killer Monkeys, Elizabeth Shue, and Terrence Stamp. What's not to love? And how cute was that orangutan disguised as a chimp wearing a butler's outfit? I like orangutans. Like, I'm terrified of chimpanzees, and I don't like baboons. I'm kind of scared of them. But when you talk about orangutans, like, I just love orangutans. And I really like gorillas, too. Do we have a grow a mustache to go with our pervert cards? I was once told all mustaches are creepy, except the Magnum PI stash, of course. You can do what you want with the pervert card. That's what makes the beauty of it. Just don't grow a Hitler stash, or you're going to have to be banned from the channel. Let's say Jay Wolf was making a sequel to Beyond Dreams Door and he offered you a role. What would you do it? It depends. I would like to do it, but if where he was shooting, how long the shoot was, and all that kind of stuff. Do you consider the creature from Creepshow's the crate a primate? I don't know. I'd never really... it's a fictional monster, like it's a abominable snowman or yeti. Like, I don't know what those are because they're not real. DM1. As for Killer Primate, my vote goes to Monkey Shines. I love Primal Rage, but it's a bonkers movie. Maybe an audible mention to Link. Ken Coakley. Night of the Bloody Apes is a movie I want to really love. He's actually replying to... I'm not sure if this is the right... Oh, he's replying to Ken Coakley later on. So I'm going to skip that. David Leather, congratulations to Shu. And you. Favorite Killer Primate movie is Raging Bull. Yeah, no shit. Ilk Vomit. Here is something for Blind Spot. Top 5 Blind Spot movies that you wish you were actually blind for and don't ever have to watch again. Kentuckinator. Shakma. Shakma! Sorry, every time I gotta do it. Hudson, I might be wrong, but I think you're going to love the next episode of Creepshow. Night of the Living Dead Late Show. Brilliant idea for a movie, anyone. Don't know if it's just me, but the guy from Jeepers Creepers turned into Ross from Friends in this episode. And congrats on your 4th. Thank you. Rick Germain, thanks for the review of our film Brimstone Incorporated. Thanks for keeping indie alive. Rick Germain, Benny, and Skunkweed. Thank you, man. Thanks for the nice comment. Barry, a.k.a. BTK. Happy 4th anniversary, Mrparka. I've been watching for you for 2.5 years, and I found your YouTube channel searching for a review on an Arrow release. I can remember the title. I can't remember the title, but you're partially responsible for my growing Blu-ray collection. Can I sue for damages? You're going to have to take that up with my lawyer. The lawyer is actually an orangutan in a butler suit. So I appreciate your reverence for filmmakers and movies, and I wholeheartedly agree with you when you get angry at dimwits being negative in the comment section. You're one of a kind. Please keep doing what you're doing. Cheers. I hate being negative, but every once in a while I get negative and I like have this legit like argument freak out, and then I'm embarrassed that I did it because I'm like, what is wrong with you? Grow up. So if like anybody calls me out for getting mad over something, I completely understand. I am not like if I'm doing something dumb, you guys can let me know I'm doing something dumb. Just don't be rude, please. Please. Ken Coakley, I like Night of the Bloody Apes partly because I like Mexican films. I have a theory that the killer human ape was the wrestler Blue Demon. I would argue that King Kong is a killer primate movie because the island people gave up their own as sacrifices to their deity. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I don't know if he is a killer primate. I don't care. I just don't want every answer to be King Kong. It was in the two sequels that he became more sympathetic. First in 1976 when Jeff Bridges explained his importance on the island as well as his longing for home. Then in 2005 he seemed almost human. The 76 and 2005 versions, while not as good as the original, had more of an emotional impact on the animal lover like me. I want to give a special mention to the Korean film Ape, which I watched in 3D as well as the Italian film Yeti, Giant of the 20th Century. That movie's ridiculous. Jessica Ellison, 28 Days Later count? Why not? William Adcock, Shakma with the roided out baboon. James D. Cokes, this is a toss up between Shakma and Link. Zach Hill, Murders in a Rue Morgue, 1932 count. Why not? Alex DeVincio, Phenomenon. Great answer. Great answer. Addison Heath, Monkey Shines. Peter England, does Greystroke, The Legend of Tarzan, Lord of the Apes count? I mean, why not? I mean, if I'm going to say, read the question that you're asking, I might as well just read it. Daniel Rice, Quest for Fire. Koi Vega, Shakma, Ferdedico, Ika, Scarligi, Shakma, Link, Monkey Shines, Mark Humphreys, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. They go on the rampage killing humans in the most underrated the original series in my opinion. Matthew Hudson, I'm going to have to say Trading Places. Yeah, I know, but I can assume that ape will kill Clarence Beaks at some point in the time after the movie ends. I apparently don't know many killer primate movies, but it was such a unique question, I couldn't help it. I think he says I couldn't help, but because I forgot to press C more. I do that so much. I forgot to press C more butts. Derek B, the gorilla from Kentucky Fried Movie. And Rebecca Reinhart, Derek B, and this is why we are buds. Bill Casanelli, Shakma, where a bloodthirsty baboon kills kids who are playing a live-action D&D game in medical school. Rye Guy, ones that immediately come to mind, the entire Planet of the Apes saga, or more so. More so the newer trilogy. Even the Tim Burton one has its place. Especially love Dawn and War. Outbreak is a good one. If you consider bears primates, then The Revenant. I don't think so. As well as The Edge. I more so wanted to bring reason to bring The Edge up because no one talks about it, and I love it. LO, Congo ain't bad either for that matter. I actually really love The Edge. It was one of my dad's favorite movies. He loved that line when Anthony Hopkins was like, we're going to kill the bear. He kept saying it. Like, I remember we watched that one movie one night, and then the next day he's like, let's watch The Edge again. After we got it, he's like, we're going to watch that again. Like, back to back. That was rare at our house, but yeah. So we could be here all day and night, and even though lions aren't technically considered primates, what's going on here? Are you just naming the animal kingdom? The Ghost in the Darkness is a pretty cool gem too, as well as Evil Angels that cry in the dark about the killer dingoes. Based on true story at that. I'm just brainstorming at this point because there aren't really a whole lot of regulated to that topic, especially damn good ones, and that aren't the obvious. Okay. Travis Eddings, Shakma, Skip Barber, Mighty Joe Young, Joe Miha. He didn't kill anyone. Skip Barber, but he goes berserk. We're having an argument here. Dean McKenzie, Link, Belinda McKay, Shakma, Zach Puccinelli, OG King Kong. Come on, Zach. James Higgins, he basically posted a I am a rebel gif. Jordan Bibby, he actually does the Shakma spelled out loud. Daniel Richardson, Congo. David Luton, good old George Romero's Monkey Shines, or to a lesser extent Dario Argento's Phenomenon, which only has a short killer monkey section at the end. Dylan Julian, Psycho Ape, Jason Lindbergh, Link, Stephen McGivern, In the Shadow of the Kilimanjaro, Harrison John Bay, Why Did I All of a Sudden Remember Congo? Ha ha. I like Congo. Nicholas Hunt, Shakma, Kaiser Soza, I've always been rather fond of Link myself. I don't know how to say your name. Lequay, T. Lee, Primal Force, which I actually don't know that one. Shane Glass, Monkey Shines, Jesse Hobson, Dustin checks in. Who did Dunstan kill in that movie? Richard Calvero, Link, Danny Knight, Murders in a Rig Morgue, possibly Lugosi's strongest performance, and it's unusually violent for a Universal horror film. Charles Floyd Rhodes, Congo, Shakma, Link, Sands of the Kalahari, In the Shadow of the Kilimanjaro, the seminal version of Tarzan the Ape. This guy actually had 4 of the ones that I covered for the he liked all 4 of the 8 movies that I covered last week. Morgan Suzak, Link for sure, but Tear Track had a really good killer monkey story as well. If we're talking non-killer, Monkey Trouble with Harvey Keitel, of course. Gabriella Juliet, Dunstan checks in. Daryl Marsh, The Deliberate Stranger, and if anyone, Ted Bundy's lesser than a primate. Primates, or at least have feelings. Justin Burning, I dug Shakma way more than I expected. Don Adams, and he basically lists, here what it is. You wait, I see. He basically posts this movie, ABC Movie of the Week. What is it called? I messed up here. I forgot to put it. It has Robert Culp and Eli Wallach in it. I can't remember the freaking name. It was a book first. Anyways, it's kind of a strange movie, In the Cold Night or something like that. Whatever it is. Anyways, I just copied the actual picture and I can't see the title or anything like that. But it's a movie with Robert Culp and Eli Wallach that sounds very interesting about medical experiments in Antarctica. Older movie from the 70s. Mark Partridge, Zombies 1 and 2, Corey Zunk, Boggy Creek, Brad Veach, Link, Yorick Dolphin, Shakma, Corey Inns, Link. And so basically the question of the week here is I was listening to No More Room in Hell with Mike Merriman, Jerry Cortez, and Derek B. And they started, they also had special guests on there, and they started talking about the first DVD they ever purchased. So that got me to thinking, so the question of the week, I basically want you just to list the first VHS, the first DVD, the first Blu-ray, the first 4K that you bought. And don't list like 30 movies, because I know a lot of people do that, but I just list the first VHS, if you remember. You might not even remember. So what's my first DVD that I ever got? I was very young. I was like 12 or so. And it was my birthday was coming up, so I technically didn't purchase it myself. And my Uncle Jim took me, I was like, I want DVDs. He was like, okay. And he's just like, let's just go to Best Buy because that's easy. So he's like, pick out a couple. What do you want? And I went right for the gold. Two of my all-time favorite movies. I grabbed Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead on DVD, which were the first DVDs I owned, technically. So I didn't buy them, though. I don't remember the first one I bought. But I remember that's all I would ask for Christmas and my birthday when I was like 12, 13, was those kind of things. So I remember getting Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, the Anchor Bay editions on DVD, the first ones. And it was the theatrical cut of Dawn, which I preferred the extended, so I was very sad when I registered that. But yeah, so that's the question of the week. I guess we're going to hop into the update. Okay, this is kind of a fairly large update, so let's hop right into this, starting with the 4Ks. I got a mad glare on this. It's the 4-movie collection of Predator. I went to buy Predator 1. I was like, I need Predator 1 on 4K. I love that movie, and I was hoping we'd pull 1987 from the next year for 22 shots. So I was like, I want to watch Predator in 4K. It was a little expensive for it by itself, but all four movies were $40 on 4K, so I grabbed it. Love 1, like 2, don't see the last two, but I definitely will check them out when I get a chance. Predator's a damn classic, and I love it, so I had to have it on 4K. Another 4K, man, it is this massive set from Arrow. Import. It's Battle Royal. I love Battle Royal. It's been a while since I watched it, and it's a great movie, though. This set has everything. It has Battle Royal official soundtrack, and then it has a Battle Royal theatrical version in 4K, Battle Royal special edition director's cut in 4K, then it has Battle Royal 2 Requiem, original theatrical version in Blu-ray, region locked, Battle Royal 2 Revenge, special edition director's cut, region locked, and then it has these trump cards, and I think it looks like it has another book in there as well. But if you guys have never seen Battle Royal, I'd highly recommend it. It's pretty much a classic, very ahead of its time and inspirational to other films. Battle Royale 2, not so much, but still entertaining and good. It's been a while since I watched both those. Can't wait to check them out. Also got my movies from the Arrow sale. We got the comic, which I don't really know this movie, but it looked interesting. Didn't have it. Imported it. So there's that. Then we have Deranged. I grabbed this because it has the full uncut version on here. I do have the Kino with the deleted scenes in there, but it's not cut into one motion, I don't think. I think this one is. This is a great movie, 1974, also based on the Ed Gein case. If you guys haven't seen Deranged, it's kind of a nice little, I don't even say hidden gem. It should be more popular, though. To Live and Die in L.A. By, who directed this one? Friedkin. Isn't it Friedkin? I've never seen this movie. I hear great things about it, so I went ahead and imported it. It's supposed to be a great action film. William Friedkin is just one of the best directors around, so why the hell not? The Third Murder, which is a Korean murder kind of mystery film. These movies are usually epic and top notch, great stuff. So maybe it's Japanese. I'm not 100% sure. Just sounded interesting, and I like these kind of films. Then we have Witchhammer, which looks interesting, crazy Czechoslovakian film. Yeah, it's kind of a country that I'm not as familiar with, but they did make some kind of weird horror films, and it looks like a witch kind of film, so why the hell not? Witchhammer. And then we have Vampir Cuadecuc. Sorry. Yeah, obviously not my first language, Vampir, though. So this is also, I think it might be a Czechoslovakian film at the same time. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe not. It was set on the. It was filmed on the set of Jess Franco's shocker Count Dracula, so that's pretty cool. Maybe this is kind of a documentary. Underground Masterpiece offers witty reflection on the powerful monopolies of both dictators and commercial cinema. So yeah, this just sounded interesting enough. So grabbed it. One Cut of the Dead. This is not the new edition, which I should have just waited and ordered the new edition. This is a pretty great movie. Pretty cool, clever. Obviously, everybody knows about this movie. Then we have some Sion Sono movies. We have Anti-Porno. His movies are all 5 hours long, so I'll never probably find the time to watch them, but they're all great, so there's that. And then we have a Shinya Tsukamoto movie, Fires on the Plain. This was one that I didn't have from him. I don't think this was in the set, so I grabbed this, but it was they had some special features on here about it, so I went ahead and grabbed the film. On the old Shinya set, they talked about this film, so I figured, why not? Wanted to check it out. I like his films. The Grateful Dead. These are all from Third Window Films now. Yeah, this one just sounded interesting. It has a girl killing people. Girl on the cover with a knife. I'm sold. Japanese film. Destruction Babies, the most extreme 108 minutes in Japanese cinema history. Jeez, yeah, this sounded wild. Somebody told me to check this one out years back, so when I did place the arrow sale, I was like, yeah, now's the time. The Whispering Star, another Science Sono movie. This one looks more like a typical kind of drama. Not typical, nothing's typical about his movies, but it's more of a drama film, not horror-oriented, I guess. But I imagine it's a cult film at the same time. And then last from that sale is Love and Peace, another Sono film. So yeah, I pretty much grabbed all his movies I could. I can't get Tokyo Tribe, which is unfortunate. Hopefully they'll get a release. I think it's out of print at both places in the UK and the United States. So then we're going to hop into the deep discount olive sale of Mice and Men with Gary Sinise and John Malkovich. I like this one. Also Casey Simansko's in there. There's some other people in here. But I mostly remember the original, which I saw at a very young age on television with Lon Chaney Jr. And it left an impression on me. And I've always liked the story. It's very sad. So yeah, great story, great movie too. Then we have Ironweed with Jack Nicholson. This one I didn't know much about. Meryl Streep, Jack Nicholson. I know that I think Jack Nicholson won some awards for. He's an amazing actor, so anything with Jack is worth grabbing. Nijinsky. I'm terrible with names. Nijinsky, which I think sounded very interesting to me. Life is an ultimate performance based on a true story, I believe. Repressed homosexuality and all that kind of stuff. Jeremy Irons made his film debut as a choreographer for the ballet company. Okay, so yeah, I grabbed this one. Caught my interest. And then we have Kill Me Again, which I think is a more of a film noir type deal. What do they call those? Neo-noir. Val Kilmer and Michael Madsen. I'd heard about this because Madsen was in it, and it was an early performance by him. I've always liked Michael Madsen. Badge 373 with Robert Duvall. Who doesn't like Robert Duvall? This one looks like a gritty kind of cop film, so I figured why the hell not? Sounds like I'd like it. Twilight's Last Gleaming with Burt Lancaster, who is awesome. This looks like a disaster movie, possibly. It has a huge cast up top. Those movies typically are like that. Joseph Cotton, Melville Douglas, Charles Durning, Burt Young, Paul Winfield, Richard Widmark. Directed by Robert Aldridge. That's probably also why I bought it. Director of Dirty Dozen, Emperor of the North, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Man, Paul Winfield is young in that, man. Yeah, this looks like a really cool film. Dead Pigeon on Beethoven Street. I grabbed this because it's a Samuel Fuller movie, and I need to broaden my horizons. I've only seen the Big Red One, which I love, but I need to watch some of his classic films, like, Shot Corridor and all that kind of stuff. It's just, it's a weak spot, and this one sounded good as well, so I'm going to try to grab as many of his movies as I can. Then we have China Gate. This is also a Samuel Fuller movie, so that's another reason I grabbed it. Angie Dickinson, Nat King Cole. Lee Van Cleef's on the bottom there, so yeah, I don't know much about this one. It's a war film that looked pretty good to me, so why not? And then we have Serial, which has Christopher Lee in it, and this one looked like an oddball film, so that's kind of why I grabbed it. I don't even know much about it. It's got what's the guy from Clue, and what is that? oh jeez, I can't remember that radio show movie that he was in. Yeah, but Martin Mull was his name. But yeah, this one looked interesting enough, so I grabbed it. And last from that sale, I grabbed Man Killers. They're beautiful. They're deadly. They're on a rampage. No man can stop them. Slasher video. So yeah, this looks ridiculous, but it's a David Pryor movie. I would not expect anything less. Then we got The Legend of Boggy Creek Blu-ray. Yeah, I had to grab this. I heard it looks great from my understanding, but yeah, I've never actually seen this movie because every time I go to watch it, it looked like it was a print from the bottom of the actual Boggy Creek, and I could not see it. So finally, gonna watch Boggy Creek. Then we have some Massacre video titles. We got Toxic Zombies, aka Blood Eaters, another one off the Video Nasties checklist. Been years since I seen this, but it's basically what happens is airplane sprays marijuana plants or something trying to kill them, and all these people get turned into blood eaters or toxic zombies. So look forward to rechecking out that one. Don't remember it being very great. I'm going to have a terrible time saying this movie, but I was wearing a t-shirt of it, so Malahakal. And this is basically the Indian Freddy Krueger, and it was on DVD for years, and I never bought it from the Bollywood collection from Mondo Macabro. I regretted it, I'm not going to lie. So then when I saw that they were releasing Indian Freddy Krueger, I was like, well, I gotta have that. Just the interesting idea that there is an Indian Freddy Krueger, and he's on the cover with a fucking cracker. He's got the claw on. I love it. And now we have some DVDs from Massacre Video, Paranoid Garden. This looked interesting. Looks like a Pinky film, maybe, possibly. But almost in the line of like a Nazi exploitation movie, but in the Japanese style. Not 100% sure. Looks pretty cool. 1994. And then last, but certainly not least, we have Brian Paulin's Fetus. I have this on another edition, but you can never have too many editions of Fetus. Underground cinema special effects score at its finest. This is one of the coolest ones he ever did, if not my favorite film by him. But Brian Paulin has a special flavor to him, and I've always enjoyed his films. So that is the update. I guess we're going to hop back to the video and get the hell out of here. Okay, guys, thank you very much for watching. And as always, have a good one.